high desert wind howled like a mourner, a lonely sound that always made the hairs on my arms stand up. I was driving back to my isolated cabin near the reservation, the last streaks of sunset bleeding across the horizon. It was a familiar drive, one I'd made 100 times, but tonight something felt different. The air was thick, heavy with an unspoken tension, and the shadows seemed to stretch and writhe in my peripheral vision. That's when I saw it. Up ahead, caught in the twin beams of my headlights, was a coyote. It stood perfectly still in the middle of the dusty road, its eyes glowing with an eerie, unnatural intelligence. I slowed the truck, expecting it to bolt, but it just stared. Its head cocked as if it were listening to something I couldn't hear. Then, in a movement that was both fluid and disturbingly wrong, it stood up, not like a coyote rearing up, but like a man unfolding himself from all fours. Its limbs elongated, its form shifting in the dim light. It was no longer a coyote. It was tall, gaunt, and its silhouette was terrifyingly human. I slammed my foot on the gas, my heart hammering against my ribs, and sped past the figure, not daring to look in the rearview mirror. When I finally skidded to a stop in front of my cabin, I fumbled with my keys, my hands shaking so badly I could barely fit the key in the lock. Once inside, I bolted the door and leaned against it, panting for breath. What had I just seen? The old tales my grandmother used to tell me, stories meant to scare children into behaving, flooded my mind. Tales of skinwalkers, of medicine men who had turned to dark paths, gaining the power to become any animal they desired. I'd always dismissed them as folklore, but what I saw on that road, it wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. It was something in between. Over the next few days, a gnawing paranoia began to eat at me. Every creak of the old cabin made me jump. Every rustle in the sagebrush outside my window sounded like stealthy footsteps. I started hearing whispers on the wind, my name being called in a voice that was a dry, rasping imitation of my own. I nailed my window shut and piled furniture against the door, but I knew it was useless. If it wanted to get in, it would. One night, the scratching started. It began on the roof, a slow, deliberate scrape of claws on wood. It moved down the walls, circling the cabin, testing for a weakness. I huddled in the center of the room, clutching an old hunting rifle, my eyes darting towards every shadow. The scratching stopped at the front door. A low, guttural growl vibrated through the wood, followed by a soft tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It sounded just like a person knocking, a chillingly calm voice, sounding exactly like my neighbor from a few miles down the road, called out, "Hey, you all right in there? So your truck looked a bit beat up." My blood ran cold. My neighbor had gone to visit family out of state a week ago. I knew it wasn't him. I stayed silent, my breath held tight in my chest. The voice outside chuckled, a dry, rattling sound. No need to be shy. It cooed, the voice morphing, shifting through familiar tones, my mother's, my father's, my own. The mimicry was perfect, and that's what made it so horrifying. It was wearing the voices of my loved ones like a costume. The tapping turned into pounding, the wood of the door groaning under the force. "Let me in!" It shrieked, its voice now a distorted chorus of everyone I'd ever known. "I just want to see you. I just want to look at your face." Panic seized me. I scrambled for the back door, my only thought to escape. As I burst out into the cold night air, a figure detached itself from the shadows by the woodpile. It was tall and emaciated, its skin stretched tight over its bones like old leather. Its eyes were to burning coals in the darkness, and as it turned its head, I saw it. On its chest, sewed into its skin, was a handprint. A perfect, 5-fingered mark, as if someone had branded it with a white-hot hand. The Skinwalker's mark. My grandmother had said it was the sign of a curse, a mark of ownership. I didn't wait to see more. I ran. I ran blindly through the desert, thorns and branches tearing at my clothes and skin. I could hear it behind me, its gait eloping, a natural rhythm that was faster than any man or animal. It wasn't just chasing me, it was toying with me. I heard the caw of a crow from above, the howl of a wolf from my left, the hiss of a snake from my right. It was everywhere at once, hurting me, guiding me deeper into the wilderness. I stumbled and fell, my ankle twisting beneath me with a sharp crack of pain. I cried out, and a low chuckle echoed from the darkness around me. I tried to crawl, dragging my injured leg, but I knew it was over. A massive shape blotted out the moonlight above me. I looked up into the face of a monstrous bear, but its eyes were not the eyes of an animal. They were the same intelligent, malevolent eyes I had seen in the coyote on the road. It opened its jaws, not in a roar, but to speak in that same chilling, mimicked voice. "Found you," it rasped. It didn't attack. It just stood over me, its shadow a suffocating blanket. It leaned down, its hot, foul breath washing over my face. With a claw that was sharper than any razor, it gently, almost delicately, traced a line on my chest. It wasn't a deep cut, barely breaking the skin, but an icy cold spread from the touch, a cold that seeped into my very soul. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone, melting back into the night. I lay there for hours shivering, until the first light of dawn broke the horizon. I managed to limp back to my cabin. The door was wide open, the furniture scattered. Nothing was stolen, nothing was truly broken, but the entire place felt violated, tainted. I looked in the mirror, my face pale and streaked with dirt. I lifted my torn shirt. There, on my chest, was a mark, a faint reddish handprint, exactly like the one I'd seen on the creature. The Skinwalker's mark. It's been a month since that night. The mark hasn't faded. Sometimes it feels warm to the touch. I haven't been back to the cabin. I'm staying with a friend in the city, surrounded by lights and noise, but it doesn't help. I can't sleep. When I do, I have nightmares of running through the desert, of shifting forms and glowing eyes. Sometimes when I speak, my voice doesn't sound like my own. And late at night, when the city is quiet, I can still hear the wind howling. And in that wind, I hear whispers calling me back. It knows I'm marked. It knows I belong to it now. And it's just waiting for me to come home. If you enjoyed the Skinwalker's mark, make sure to like, comment, and share this story to spread the chills. And if you love creepy American horror tales like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. More dark stories are coming soon. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights on, and never stop for strangers in the dark.